Okay, people often ask me, how do you get high-level people on your podcast? Like, how do you get people to come to your podcast? And my answer is I ask them. That's it. Of course, there's a way to ask, when to ask, how to ask, and I would like to say you can ask when you have the right to ask. Okay, and what I mean by that is you can ask people when you have the right to ask. So when you want cool people to come to your show that you've been looking up to, what you need to do is know them. You need to know them, you need to be following them, you need to know what they're about. So when you are facing them, you actually know them. You know what to ask, you know exactly where you want to go with the episode. You've been observing that person, you just know who they are, what they do, what they are working on, what they're about, and then you can have them on your show and you can actually introduce them to people. That is the most important. So if you want someone that you have been following and you're loving to come to your show, first you have to actually have the rite of passage of knowing them. And when you know them, and when you've been following their work and you know what they do and what they're about, and you approach them in that I know you, and I think we should talk about this, I would love to have you, then you're on the rite of passage. And when someone comes and reads the message that you sent them in inviting them to your show, and you're already showing that you know them, then they are more likely to come because it's not just a spammy person that is messaging to everyone to invite them on their show. They actually know me and they know exactly what they want to talk about. So that's the first very important, you have to know them. You have to know why you want them, what you want to ask from them, why you want them on your show. And you have to let them know what it is that you want to talk about when you approach them. The second thing is they actually have to do and have to have the courage to speak to these people. That's a whole nother ballgame, because when you believe that if people say yes to you, they say yes to you because you have deserved to actually talk to this person regardless of your numbers. I know a lot of people get in their heads about how many downloads or listeners they have, or they have to have the X amount before they invite bigger people on the show. I don't believe in that. And I don't align with people who care about the listeners. I don't align with people who just hey, I'm only coming unless there's 1 million listeners. That if that's what you want, okay, then it's a no-go for me. Then obviously I'm not at that level. Or you want to seek out those opportunities, then it's a no-go for me because it's not going to work. I don't have 1 million listeners. Or some people are very calculated. Even if it's someone that you know, and you approach them and you're very calculated. So how much do you offer for me to come? Well, okay, then it's a no-go, right? So if they care about your numbers and they care about the listeners and they care about how much you pay them to come, then it's a no-go. I mean, at least for me, it might be for you, you have the budget or sponsors, whatever, to get these people on the show. But I feel especially podcasting, it's we are here. It's a mutual exchange. Giving them exposure, putting them on social media, putting them on YouTube, putting them on fucking every podcasting platform. So whenever someone is looking up their names, they can find the episode and they can connect them further. So people are building legacy and taking on more shows and practicing to speak and wanting to be better and wanting to be out there. That is their motivation, okay? And your motivation is you get to talk to cool people and you get to, hang out with cool people and ask your questions that you always had to these people. That's your motivation. And of course, bring value to the audience, to the listeners, right? To bring the people that you think they want to hear. But when someone says yes to you, okay? When someone says yes to you, and it's a high-level person that you like, oh my God, I love this person. I read their books. I've been listening to them forever. And I'm I wanted to book them for the longest time. And they say yes to you. And they don't ask about your numbers. And I don't care, how many clients I'm going to sign from it. They don't ask that. But they just, okay, let's do it. Say yes, and they come. They say yes to you because they see what's in it for them. Beyond numbers and beyond listeners. Okay? And they check that it's a legit podcast, that you've been doing this, repeatedly, not just a one-off thing. but they say yes to you because you deserve to speak to that person. And that's like a whole another psychology of the podcasters, because especially if you are someone who want to have quote unquote the high level guest, the who are rock stars of your industry coming to your show and asking them questions or having discussions with them. So if people say yes to you, it's because you earned it. You have the right. So I don't want you or anyone thinking that they don't deserve to have someone big in their shows because they're just like, whatever, insert limitation. Okay. So that's how you get people on your show. I don't personally like to have people that I don't research myself, okay? So if I get inquiries from people, which I do by email as well, people email me, or like these podcasting agencies email me like, I have a guest for you, he's great, and let me be the judge of that. So I'm always like, okay, if you want to come, or if I have inquiries on people coming, I want to know why. What is it that they do? Do I love it? Am I aligned with it? Is it interesting for me? Is the topic interesting for me? I always research the person that I have if I get inquiry, or if I want someone that I personally want to have, then I'm always, I know why. And I have listened to them especially enough, or been exposed to their work enough so that I know what to do with them. Okay? So I want you to, and then when I know what to do with them, I have all the rights to talk to them. Of course, I know them, right? So it's not even like a deservingness. It's more like of course, I know exactly what to ask them. I know if they were in front of me, I know what I would ask them. So it's really up to you guys, it's really up to you guys. But I think that's how you do it right, That's how you get high level, quote unquote, high level people or guests on your show. I hope that this was helpful. If you want me to go into like details on like how do you do that, like what exactly I say in my messaging, what do I say, like all those things, I am putting together a program, preferably end of March, on intentional visibility and on how do we actually act on creating our own visibility online. Stay tuned for that. It's called Intentional Visibility. It's gonna come out in March, and I would be happy to kind of actually show you within the framework of the program. So more on that later. But if you know that you're in for intentional visibility, drop me a message and I can give you more info. Okay? Good luck. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.